Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to the stream. Hope everyone is well. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. You can check the link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. Join discussions, chat with other traders, join the community, and of course, you can find out a bit more about the Elevating Traders firm as well. So if you are interested in that, make sure you go check it out. And of course, you can find your discount code for 50% off using the code ET50 as well. So guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. As always, we'll go through analysis. We'll start with the dollar pairs and then progress to some other markets. If there is any particular markets you do want me to look on, chat about, drop it down in the chat. We'll take a look together and discuss. But it's an interesting week this week. I'll quickly actually run through the news actually. I'm pretty sure we've got the US interest rates, I believe, on Wednesday. So Monday, we've had a bunch of PMI. In the afternoon session, we got USD PMI 245 UK time. And then Tuesday, we got pound unemployment rate in the morning. And then we've got CAD CPI, USD retail sales all in the afternoon. And then Wednesday, inflation for pound, CPI for euro. Yeah, Wednesday, Fed interest rates, 7 p.m. UK time. So interesting stuff. Rates expected to drop there as well. And then Thursday, Bank of England interest rate at 12. GDP for USD in the afternoon. And then JPY inflation rate right at the end of the day. And then Friday, GDP retail. So there's a bunch of news this week, a lot of news this week. Definitely need to stay on top of that, especially if you are looking to trade any USD or pound pairs this week, because we're expecting movement across those pairs, especially maybe JPY as well on Thursday with the inflation rate. But overall, definitely a lot of noise this week, so do want to stay on top of that. But yeah, we'll go through the USD markets. We'll start with the dollar, and then we'll go across them. And of course, any recommendations of anything you're looking at, feel free to drop it down in the chat. What's up, Will? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Tashi, good morning. Good morning. So we left off last week chatting about dollar breaking through this 4-hour resistance. And as we have done that, and so far stayed above it as well, I am looking to see if dollar can make a push back to resistance up here at 107.8. Overall, I do think we can see a bit more USD upside. However, I'm still very bearish on USD. I'm still looking to sell it because of where we're trading. Like I've been saying, as a swing trader, these are areas where I'd predominantly look to sell the market. Doesn't mean I have to sell or find the sell. If a good sell opportunity does occur, of course, I'll look to take it. But if the market is not really giving me that opportunity, then I'll stay put. If we are to break through this area, I'll wait for higher time frame confirmation, strong candle closures on the weekly chart, daily chart, breaking above this area. Then we can start discussing about potentially a swing back to these heights at 113. So if I am going to be bullish, any price to completely break through this zone, at the moment, I'm still trading in that area, hence why I'm bearish. And I'm looking for selling opportunities that do correspond to that. And as we got a break of structure this week, last week actually, breaking through the high there, that has made me kind of shorter term bullish, at least looking for a push back to 107.8. Maybe we sell off from there and form a nice double top. That could be a reality. Or maybe price breaks through and we create new highs and we keep going. Of course, we'll address that as time continues. But for now, since we are comfortably trading above this level, I do think some USD strength can creep back into the market, back into 107.6. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on the shorter term view for USD, but that's not really my type of trade. I'm looking for that bearish swing as long as we stay protecting those highs, which is not really there yet. Maybe the double top, but I was looking for price to respect structure last week and then continue that path to downside, then try and find some low highs somewhere. It never happened. We broke to the upside. So now it looks like USD is going to be a little bit strong. Taking that information into euro, euro still just about holding on to support. It had a nice-ish reaction last week, but I'm not quite convinced everything is still quite corrective here with euro. We did have a nice bounce there on Friday, I believe, Thursday, Friday. And now we kind of slowly push to the upside. But if USD is going to rise, of course, that will take your USD down. So the confluences are not quite lined up just yet. And of course, if you do break through the low here, then naturally expecting your USD to make a push back down to 1.036, which could be a really nice trade, actually. Say price does give us the break of that zone. There could be some nice intraday setups to short euro, maybe on the 15-minute chart to really maximize the risk reward. If we do break through 1.04726 and take that down, at the moment, time price is doing an okay job at holding onto support. So if we do keep that up, maybe we do get a bullish swing back to the high here. But yeah, price action not looking great, not a lot of momentum. So I'm not quite convinced, especially with the break of structure on dollars part. So I think what would be a nice kind of intra-week opportunity is if price can clear this level, find some shorts on the retest or below that area in general, and look for some shorts back into the low. I think on the lower time frames, that looks like a really nice opportunity, especially because still in line with the trend, still got bearish momentum on your side, and we're calmly, below support. That'd be good chance price does make a push to the next level. So I would say keep an eye on that this week for euro. Pound USD is a similar situation as well. I do like the double bottom on pound USD if price was to push all the way back down to the low here. At 1.25, I would actually like a double bottom there for pound. Similar situation in terms of we come back into a low. Had a nice, okay-ish bounce, but not quite sold on that. A lot of momentum to the downside from that bearish swing. Not really looking like a pullback for price to continue. So again, if price does break through that this week for pound USD, I think some nice shorts back down to that low makes a lot of sense. And again, at that point, you're kind of in line with the DXY. DXY is broken through that resistance, likely going to push back to the swing high. If pound USD does the same move, probably going to get pushed back to the swing low. So some nice synchronicity there between the dollar and pound and euro. But of course, that floor does need to break. In terms of the longs, I do like the longs on the double bottom. So that's kind of what I'm interested in this week. Of course, price needs to get there first, react, give me the confirmations I'm after. But for now, that looks like a really nice opportunity for pound USD. A bit more aggressive because I am going against all that momentum, but we're in an area where it makes sense. We're in an area where we could put the next higher low in, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. And the risk reward makes a lot of sense because we could completely fly. Trading stop here could be a really rewarding way to manage that trade as well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with pound USD, just waiting for the confirmation. So we'll be patient in relation to that. In terms of dollar CAD, so dollar CAD, yeah, still pushing to the upside, still looking very, very bullish. We kind of got the confirmed break on the higher time frames. If I scoot to the weekly chart, very strong candle closure last week and the week before that as well. So this was resistance. I wasn't too sure about price will break through or stay above because we did break through a few weeks ago, but then we had a big wick. Monthly candle close that wasn't too strong as well. So I was a bit debating it, but then we had a really strong candle close last week and then this week as well. So momentum is definitely to the upside. And if this does sustain, we could see a push all the way back to 1.4647. Back to the resistance up there as well. So there's a long way to go for dollar CAD if we are going to sustain this. It's a little bit corrective, but I do like these areas. I think we can catch some nice buys off these zones. Doesn't have to be the home run all the way back to 1.46. It's nice to know that potentially that could happen. But I do think if we can see a pullback, retest some structure, there's a good chance for us to catch a nice reaction to the upside. Maybe it's just for a short swing and then we have a bigger pullback, but that's still a move that could look good to profit from as well. Market's been very consistent with all these high lows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking for number 6, and then possibly the continuation from that. So that's really what I'm after now for dollar CAD. Buys from 1.40800. We'll wait for the pullback. If we have a bigger push, I may contemplate looking at the retest of the high here, but I need price to show me a bit more upside before I look for that pullback. In terms of Aussie dollar, still at a big zone, not really looking like we're bouncing just yet. There is a zone just below us at 0.63, which maybe price is working its way towards. But again, because of where we're trading for Aussie dollar, I'm only looking for buys really. Maybe price is going to have a bigger breakout and potentially push back to the lows here. That could be the case. But now's not the time for me to be looking to buy. To sell, sorry, because we already had such a big move. The market's very, very stretched. Now coming back into some big areas of support on the higher time frame. So I can only be looking to buy in the situation, but of course the trend is still very much down. So as I said last week on the weekly analysis, we need to wait for signs of the market shifting, and then we can take some buys on the way up on some higher lows somewhere. Of course, we'll see how that does develop, because it will be specific to what we're looking at. Maybe we're looking at a retest somewhere, maybe looking at double bottom. So, we'll chat more about that when the structure does form. But for now, the market is still comfortably bearish, still seeing lower high after lower high. So I need to be careful with that. And like I said, we may still push further to 0.63 as well. And yeah, if USD does push up this week, then you probably will see 0.63 hit for Aussie dollar. And New Zealand dollar, similar situation as well, holding on to support for dear life. If it does break through this, we might see a really big move for New Zealand dollar back to 0.555, which is this low here. And again, not really interested in the sells because of price being so overstretched or overextended. It's a pretty big move back down to that low there if we are going to make that. But because we had such a big drop already, I need a bigger pullback before I do take any shorts. And then, yeah, I probably would look for a bigger push to the downside, but this is still bullish territory. So I am still looking for that buy opportunity, whether at 0.58 or 0.555. But again, dropping to the lower time frame, looking at that bearish structure, still very consistent, still plugging in lower high after lower high. So it cannot be bullish yet. It might be in a bullish territory or bullish area, but this is definitely not structure to be getting involved just yet because we're still bleeding. So yeah, the main theme for the USD markets is that we're in some nice areas where we could turn around, but not really seeing evidence for that just yet. And of course, if we hop over to gold, I was a fan of the buys. I was a fan of the buys last week, but I was looking for price to break structure. Didn't quite happen. So I did say in my weekly analysis, buys do look good, but I would wait for price to push back down to the lows here first. I wouldn't be so confident with the buys anymore. Price has tried to have a reaction up at the high there. Hasn't really worked out too well. So in my book, if we have a deeper correction, might see a nice bounce off this low. But I wouldn't be looking for the home run necessarily anymore. Of course, there's a possibility. We could see that move, but I think because of that double top there, it's a sign that the bears are still holding onto that structure very well. And we did get that big break of structure. Let's not forget, maybe price is forming a lower high to continue. That is a possibility too. But overall, still very bullish on gold. I still think those all-time highs will be breached at some point. What I want to see some higher lows forming, then maybe I can jump on to the back of one. But in terms of a buy of a nice setup, I do like 2620, but I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy. If you can get a reaction back into this area, I think that's a nice trade on an intraday level. And you can always leave some positions to run, but that's a nice trade there for gold. And silver, I was very bullish on silver last week. Didn't quite set up for me. Really strong move to the downside towards the end of the week there, which made things very awkward. We had a very big wick on the weekly chart there, which makes things really awkward because now it looks like we're holding on to resistance now. And that's more of a sign that we could actually get a bit of a drop there for silver, which isn't the biggest conundrum in the world. If silver does take a drop, to me, it just means we're having a bigger retracement for the next bullish leg. I mean, we do have this leg here to contend with. If I draw the fib from that low to that high, there is a possibility we do come back to some of these areas first before continuing, which would be a very, very big pullback, but could end up being a very big buy. So, who am I to complain about that? But yeah, with silver, with gold, still long-term bullish on these guys. But after that rejection last week for silver, after that impulsive behavior in the low time frames, I do think silver's probably going to drop back to the low this week at 29.8. So there might be some corrections and continuations this week. Difficult to find a good short because we're in a big range really. Unless we kind of creep back up to the high over here, then yeah, that could be a nice short. retest that structure there, prior resistance a couple times, could act as resistance again for a nice short. So that's the kind of the only way I would say some shorts look good for silver. But right now in the middle of a range, don't really want to be trying forcing entries in here. It's always difficult to be consistent in range. Very easy to get stopped out and see price move in your favor. But something up here will look good. And then, yeah, some shorts back into the low. But longer term, still looking at the buy. So we have to be patient for that, but definitely not ready quite just yet. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD markets in general, most of them anyway. USD is still at a big area of resistance where I'm looking to see if we can turn around. Not really seeing evidence of that just yet because price did break that structure to the upside. 106.5. So now it looks like USD is probably going to make a move back to 107.6. So yeah, intraday level, can't ignore that bullish break of structure. But I'm still looking to take those reversals, counter trend moves. But I would say pound USD is probably my favorite. If you can get the double bottom at that low, I would be looking at some entries there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Good morning, FX Wolf. Hope you're doing good. Market be moving funny these days. Yeah, that's the market for you. It's Christmas time. Pulling up some jokes. Antonio, hope you're well. Excuse me. Don't know what happened there. Antonio, hope you're well. Mo Mind Deck, what's up? You're a CHF. Okay, we'll take a look. Regina, good morning. Hope you're well. CS Integrated, hope you're doing good. What's up? What's up? Antonio, Pound CAD. Sure thing. We'll take a look. CAD Yen, USD. Okay, a bunch of pairs. Okay, so I'll go through some pairs that you guys are requesting. No problemo. We'll start with Euro CHF and we'll work our way through them. But yeah, guys, if you have any charts or questions you want to ask or look at, just drop it down in the chat and we'll take a look together. What's up, Guna? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. Ahmed, okay. UJ will add that to the list. Good morning, Grant. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. So Euro CHF, definitely not one of my favorite pairs at the moment right now. I actually am looking at CHF pair this week. And I will go through that at some point, but Euro CHF is not the one. I can see we are still just piercing the lows here, so I do like that behavior. It looks like price is still bearish overall, still creating lower lows and predominantly lower highs as well. So the market is still bearish. So generally speaking, sells is quite the way to go. But the thing with Euro CHF was that we're all-time lows, and you do expect to see a big move to the upside at one point. So although sells look good, I wouldn't be so aggressive, and especially if you do get a sell back into the low, you're kind of looking to take your profit there because the probability of price snapping back up, you can see every time you do create a new low here, when a new low is created, market snaps up, creates a new low, snaps up, creates a new low, snaps up. So every time you see that kind of piercing behavior to the downside, market shoots straight back up. So we might see another one of those sell opportunities back down again, but be very careful of something like that happening. And I think a big move to the upside will happen at some point for the CHF pairs. But at the moment, the structure is still bearish. You can see the consecutive lower highs the market is still forming. And this could be another one of those. If I draw it up with a trend line, probably come into a nice area. So yeah, I think the shorts do look good. If you're going to sell, this is the place to do it. Maybe pricing form a nice little double top there. That would be nice. Get more refined entries as well. Another push into that area. Rejection. See some entries in that area. Stops above the high. And again, looking to see if you can swing it back into the low. And I'll probably say, look to book profits in this area. And then you can probably target the wick as maybe like a final target. Leave some positions to run. And then, yeah, maybe we do reverse again from there as well. But yeah, overall, Euro CHF still a very bearish market. Monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, all pointing to the downside. So if you're looking to short, it's always going to be a safer position to take, not guaranteed win, but it's nice to be in the same direction as all of those higher time frames, knowing that the market's pretty much bearish and across the board. And now we pull back into another area where we have seen low highs form as well. This is a nice place to short. Like I said, nice little double top will get you back to the high, more refined entries. Probably drop to the hourly chart, look for some entries on that time frame, stop loss above the high. Then yeah, you can see if you can take it back into 0.93 and potentially 0.92 as well. But yeah, I would be bearish on USD not my favorite pair because of how corrective it's been and the fact it's still trading at those all-time lows. But I do think more downside is likely. So hopefully that made sense. Okay, we'll go through pound CAD, CAD Yen, Euro, NZD as well. Good morning, Grant. Did I say good morning? I think I did. Yeah, dollar CHF, we'll take a look for you, no problem. Dark Sean. Okay, that'd be helpful, but still need info. Okay. Okay, yeah, just drop it down in the chat. Or if you want, you can create a ticket as well on Discord. But yeah, that's what my outlook is for Euro CHF. In terms of pound CAD, so yeah, pound CAD overall, I'm actually still pretty bullish on. I was actually very bearish on this pair, looking for a lower high after this big drop to the downside a couple of weeks ago. We broke structure as well after forming a very nice double top. So we formed a lovely double top over here. Market respected it well. Big drop to the downside. Now we're having a bit of a pullback. So I was looking at a lower high developing around here as we came back to this level here. But I just didn't see my confirmation and price just broke through. So I stayed at the market. And now that we've had that big move to the upside, I'm looking at this price action as a big V shape. So there's an impulse to the downside, impulse to the upside, just as impulsive as each other, which is kind of the characteristic of a V-shaped pattern. Strong move down, followed by equally strong move back up again. And normally this is a pattern that resembles a reversal. Price tried to move down, but completely, that move got completely erased. And now you're looking at a correction for price to continue higher. The only thing with pound CAD is that will come into pretty big level resistance. So it's going to take some energy for us to break through that zone. But I did say in my weekly analysis, if price can have a deeper pullback, let me just get rid of my drawings, deeper pullback into this zone, I feel like this is a nice place for a buy. Not only was it price support on the left, you can see we did have a nice little range there where price stalled for a few hours, followed by a big break to the upside. So that looks like a nice area to collect some buying, to look to take any buying entries. And of course, back to the high there could be a phenomenal trade in itself, depending on the entry. Could be looking at a really healthy risk reward and can always leave some positions to run. But yeah, overall, pound CAD, I would be kind of be bullish for this week, at least a pushback to 1.81. Whether we break through it or not, that's a different question. But I'm looking at a pullback of this bullish move, and this is kind of the area I would anticipate that to happen from 1.79, then a push back to 1.81. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound CAD. Yeah, high time frames are still pretty bullish as well. So it's nice to know that you got that kind of bias on your sides from that perspective. But overall, still a very bullish market. Okay, I'll go through CAD Yen next. So yeah, CAD Yen, I still do have my position on this pair. I think I accidentally removed it. But I still do have the trade open. The entries from here. Stop loss was above the high there originally, but now it's just above 109.6. So it's around 9623, I think it was, but around there. And yeah, we've had a bit of a retracement now with CAD Yen. So I'm looking at this one. It's still overly corrective, so I'm still holding that position out. I'm still looking for another drop to the downside. If we do become impulsive, I may close early. Of course, worst case scenario, I do get trailed out with the remaining position I have on. But I'm still hanging on for a pushback down to the lows here at 103. 102.5, 103. That's still very much the idea with CAD Yen. We had a lovely drop in July. I'm looking at this as the correction of that. Now I'm looking at the continuation back to the low. I'm looking at this as still the pullback of that move and looking at some more downside. And because it's still corrective, I'm still hanging on to the position. Like I said, worst case scenario, I do get trailed out, but I may close early if characteristics change too drastically. I may look to close out early, but for now, still going to see what we can do with the position. Still looking at lower high for me. If you're looking to get involved in CAD Yen, I still do like the shorts up here. Lovely low. Now we taking as resistance. Depending how we get there, if we stay corrective, see some nice rejections, it could be a really nice place to look to get involved with CAD Yen, look for a reaction, possibly a push back to the low there as well. at 106 where we formed that double bottom. So yeah, I think pound CAD short still look good. I would wait for price to push up a little bit further if you're looking for entries. 109.5 would it does look like a nice area. Um, yeah, we are trading at an area of supply here on the left a little bit, but it's not as deep of a pullback as I would have wanted. I'm pretty sure we've got the 0.618 running through that zone above us. Yeah, 0.618 running right through that area. So that is a healthy place for a short. This area quite haven't hit the zero point 0.5 yet. So yeah, a little bit more confluence above us. But overall, CAD Yen still looking at more downside, but I'll keep an eye on 109.4. Okay, so I'll go through Euro NZD next, and then I'll take a look at dollar yen and dollar CHF. What's up, Nick's kid? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. As what is up? Hope you're doing good. It has been a while. Yes, I will take a look at New Zealand dollar for you, no problem. Dark Sean. Well, it depends. It depends on the leverage. I need to do the maths on that to get back to you on that one. Drop it down in the Discord. Um, because yeah, I need to do the math to see if the leverage will allow it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of parameters of the challenge, you do have a 2.5% max floating loss. So yeah, and of course, depending on your challenge as well, you do have a 4% overall for the daily drawdown. So in terms of percentage, it's fine because you're within the limits. But I need to check about the lot size and if it does allow the leverage. It should be fine, but I need to double check that. If you create a ticket on Discord, we'll get back to you there. But in terms of the parameters, it's fine. I just need to check if the leverage will allow that. Okay, let me go to Euro NZD. So with this one, excuse me, Euro NZD, we have come back to a nice area for a short, but I'm just not a big fan of the price action, to be honest. I mean, overall, it's actually not a bad range. You got the equal highs there, equal lows. You can kind of see the limits of the range, which is nice. Sometimes you get range which are all over the place. But we've got our constraints down the range 1.837, 1.742. We come back into a more minor area of resistance in relation to the range that is. It's not really a minor area of resistance, a pretty big one. But of course, the best place to short in a range is, as I always say, right at the high or down at the low. Not a bad place to short given how the market is moving. I just wouldn't be looking to catch a big drop with this one. I think this is more of an area where you're looking for a bit more of a reaction. So coming back into the zone, if you can see another rejection, this could end up being a nice short. I also like how price is moving. It's still very corrective. Push, pullback, push, pullback, push. Looks like another pullback as well. So it's very, very corrective. Not really the signs of a market that's about to completely fly. Normally a sign of a market that's getting ready for a move to the downside. So I do like the shorts from the zone back at nice level of resistance here on the daily/4 hour chart. Because we're not quite at the top of the zone, I wouldn't be looking for such a big swing. This will be a trade where you look for a reaction in a bit of profit, maybe secure some gains, and then just see how far maybe price can go. Maybe we do have a big swing. Maybe price just comes back to retest some areas here and then continues to go against you. So it's a very choppy condition. It's not like we're trending and we can look to follow that momentum or follow a trend. So that's why the conditions aren't great. In these type of conditions, you kind of want to sell high and buy low, catch the reactions, and sell high and buy as low as possible. So it would be effectively a little bit better to see price can go a little bit higher and test 1.84, 1.845 for some shorts, but this is still not a bad area. Like I said, I just wouldn't look to try and catch a home run off this level. I think 1.806 would be a really healthy target. Anything more than that would be a bit more of a bonus. But yeah, still a nice place for a short. Looks like we might see another push to the upside anyway. So look to see how we react. If you see some healthy rejections, on the hourly or 4-hour chart. I think that'll be a nice trade to take there back into 1.806 and potentially further, but just not a big fan of the conditions. If we do have a trend in our favor, we can always expect price to continue back to the swing low. There really is no trend in our favor or overall momentum, so it's always a bit tricky. But yeah, that's kind of my outlook there for Euro NZD. In terms of dollar yen, let me go to that one. So dollar yen was pretty bullish last week. A lot of upsides. Of course, USD was pretty strong as well, so that helped drive price higher. This is kind of like my last point of call to short dollar yen back at this low here at 153.500. It's so far stalling, so far looking corrective, and potentially a low high could form at this area. I'm looking at the two price swing highs, one over there, second over there. I'm looking at potentially a third one forming in this area. So I'm looking at some shorts now for dollar yen, but price action is not ready yet. And for all we know, we potentially could break to the upside. So I want to see some evidence of price turning around, double tops, wicks, bearish engulfing candles, shift in momentum. I want to see that happen in this area. And then we could be looking at a short back to the swing low and maybe a lot further as well. I'm still very bearish on the yen pairs overall. I'm still looking at continuation of that momentum from July. I'm looking at this as a correction. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm looking at now. And I'm still looking at push to the downside. But if this level doesn't hold, we're probably going to push to the high. And if we take out the high, then yeah, I'm just going to expect price to come back to the high there as well. So we're clutching onto the last kind of areas where if we don't start holding, we're probably going to have to shift our bias altogether in the higher time frames. But yeah, looking to see what we can do in this area for some shorts. Not ready yet. So I'm going to have to monitor and see how we close each 4-hour candle. But at the moment, still looking a little bit bullish, but not quite ready to be short yet. But this is the area which I'm anticipating a little high to form. If not, then we're probably going to push back to the high here at 156.5. In terms of dollar CHF, again, not really a pair which I'm in love with. Not really, I don't really have a plan for this one because, again, if I scoot to the higher time frames, you got equal highs up here, we got equal lows down here. So overall, we pretty much got a range. If the market rejects a high twice and rejects a low twice, that gives you your parameters for your range. And now we're kind of in the middle of that. So we're neither at the high, neither at the low. So it's not really trading at any area of value. Maybe we do put a lower high in here and continue back down. Maybe this is just a pause for the market to continue pushing up. It's difficult to say. It's very, very difficult to say. And because of that, my edge isn't very high. Therefore, I'm not looking to take any trades. If we're trading at the top of the range, I can look to use that to my advantage because I either know price is going to get a breakout of this or it's going to respect it and come back down. If I can see evidence of price respecting it or evidence of price breaking out, I can find some nice opportunities. And I know I'm at an area where, if I am right, I can catch a really big sell. In this area, you potentially could be right for a few days and then price starts to go against you as well. So not a big fan of the price action for dollar CHF really because of where we're trading. I think it's not a bad place for a short coming back into the high here. Of course, we had a lovely rejection initially. Back there again, might see something again, but again, I wouldn't hold that trade for too long. Not in really a high probable area where we could see things turn around. If you're looking for trend continuation, which would probably be a nice opportunity, really, actually. So if you do see a strong break to the upside, something like this would actually be a nice opportunity to ride it back to the high of the range. At least that's got a bit more probability because at least you've got a trend you're following, and we're still seeing evidence of highs breaking and then looking for retest as well. So this is probably the better trade, really. And then you can look to target the high of the range if you want to, of course. Which is not a bad opportunity. So yeah, dollar CHF, not really looking for a short because we're not really at any area value, but there is a bullish trend here in the lower time frames. And if you are looking to trade it, I would be trying to look for continuations of that. So a break of the high, pullbacks, and yeah, looking for opportunities off the back of that. But not my favorite pair at the moment because of where we're trading. Okay, so we'll go through which pair was next. New Zealand dollar, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so yeah, we'll go through New Zealand dollar for as, and then I'll go through the yen pairs completely because I'm still pretty interested in the yen pairs, but need some development because some are looking some are looking okay. None are looking great to short just yet. But again, things can change quickly. You got a lot of news this week. Inflation for yen on Thursday. Who knows what could set up, or maybe they are going to be bullish. We'll find that out. But I will go through a bunch of them. I mean, pretty much all of them together. Let me just get New Zealand dollar for as out the way. No problem. Happy to help. Will currently in buys for user. Okay, nice. When did you get into that trade? Did you enter the buys today? We're going to take a look at New Zealand dollar and I'll go through the yen pairs. So yeah, New Zealand dollar, as I stated earlier, it's in the area where, again, I'm looking for a big bounce to the upside. The market's been falling out of the sky for quite some time. So I'm looking at some buying opportunities. If price is going to break through this low, which it very much could do, then the next area I'm expecting price to get to is 0.55, which of course is back down at that next swing low. So there could be a very, very big drop for New Zealand dollar. I mean, we've had a pretty big drop, but it may only be 2/3 of the way through. We could still see another push back to 0.55. So if you're looking at intraday opportunities, looking to flow of momentum, then shorts is probably the way forward. If we can probably break through this level and stay below this level here and stay below, there could still be a lot more downside to be had. Again, as a swing trader coming back into such a key low, I'm looking for the opposite move to take price to the upside, but I do start to need to see higher highs and higher lows forming. And then I can look for a pullback somewhere and try and find the next high low. At the moment, not seeing that. Still seeing price respect the highs very well, lower high after lower high after lower high. And that could keep us bearish and we could stay bleeding through. So if that's the case, pullbacks, retest somewhere, looking to ride that momentum down back to 0.55. Could be some really nice trades later this week. And pretty much going to the end of the year, really. So if you are bearish New Zealand dollar, I think it makes a lot of sense because it looks like we're breaking through. I think let's just see some more of that momentum sustain. If we do see evidence of price turning around, then there could be some really nice buys, but just not seeing evidence of that just yet. So have to be patient. But because of where we're trading, I can only look to buy. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with New Zealand dollar. Let me know what you're looking at. Okay, pound yen also gonna look at some buys. Okay, I'll go through some yen pairs now. Oh, looking for buys, misread that. My bad, my bad. More, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's go through some yen pairs. So we'll start with CAD yen. So that's the yen pair I'm currently trading. And really, to be honest, I'm just gonna let CAD yen do its thing. If I need to pull the trade early, I'll pull the trade early. But the idea is that I'm trying to maximize my gains and minimize my losses. And this is a situation where I sold at a really high price where, of course, the trend was still against me at the time and price could have gone against me as well. Of course, it didn't. It did break to the downside. So I'm trying to maximize this situation. I've already taken partials. I've already booked partials when we broke through the low there. My stop loss is trailed into profit. So worst case scenario, price does go against me. I will be traded out there. Best case scenario, price stays bearish when we get a big sell. But like I said last week, it has looked a little bit awkward for the yen pairs, especially CAD yen, because we did form that double bottom. First test, second test, and we broke through the highs. The only thing that I still do like about CAD yen is that we're still very corrective on the way up. So we still might push up a little bit further, but I do expect to see a drop to the downside. If we start picking up momentum or start forming some major higher lows, then I probably will close the trade early. But at the moment, I'm just going to wait and see how it does develop. In terms of looking for some shorts now for CAD yen, as I stated earlier, 109.3 looks good. So I think that's where the interest does lie. I still do like pound yen. This one has had a lot of upside, but I did say potentially there could be a nice little double top here, which could form. We've just about reached that same area this morning. Now I need to see some strong evidence of some wicks forming, some big rejections coming in for me to take the trade in that area. Because the idea is I'm still looking for that next low high in the sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4? Is this going to be number 5, or is price just going to keep pushing to the upside? If that happens, maybe we do form a really big V-shaped pattern. Not the best pattern in the world, because you want to kind of see a bit more strength on the down move and a bit more strength on the up move. But the ideal for V-shaped patterns is that we mirror the sell with the buy. So if price does push to the downside correctively as well, and we correctively push back up, and it's a sign of reversal, all that momentum down was just completely invalidated, and price is now looking to move in the opposite direction. So maybe a V-shaped pattern does form here, but I will be looking for evidence for shorts at this area. So for me, it's very important for pound yen. I'm actively looking to short the market, but I just need to wait for the confirmations. At the moment, not quite there yet. That's kind of the story with quite a few yen pairs I'm looking at. If price is going to break to the upside and break through this zone here, then of course there could be some really nice buys on the retest of this area where price is above, and we could look to really let fly if that V-shaped pattern is going to form. But for me, still in an area where I do think a lower high could form. So that's kind of where I'm at with pound yen. And if we do see some shorts, I'll look to take them. If we start breaking through and see some strong candle closures above, then I'll back away and just keep a lookout to see how things unfold. But I'm still looking at shorts for CAD yen, still looking at the lower high developing. But yeah, we're coming up to some areas where if we don't sell off, I'm going to have to start to back away, because maybe we are going to get that reversal. And quite a lot of yen pairs are in that situation for me. CHF-JPY is another one. I like CHF-JPY. I like the high time frames. I like the lower time frames as well. I like where we're trading. We're all-time highs with Swiss yen. So I actually like Swiss yen a little bit more than pound yen on the higher time frames. But they both look equally as good in the 4-hour chart. So you can see here all-time highs. So it's naturally a market that is due a retracement. In FX, when we do create all-time highs, we very rarely sustain it for too long before having a pretty big correction. So I do think that is pretty likely there with CHF-JPY. Of course, it doesn't have to necessarily fall from here. It could still push up, to here, then have the pullback. So it's always hard to say where we will pull back from. But, in FX, if you just look at the history of pretty much every FX pair, 90% of the time when new highs or new lows are created, we do kind of come back on ourselves. So that's what I'm expecting with CHF-JPY. And of course, looking at the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart, we did have that big break of structure. Not long ago, taking out the lows here. So that was a sign that, okay, the markets are starting to shift, because we were forming really nice higher highs and higher lows as the trend was continuing. Then we hit the high there in July, had a really impulsive drop, and we broke structure. So that was the key sign for me that says, okay, maybe the yen pairs have probably hit a top here, or CHF-JPY at least has hit a top here, and we might look to roll over now. So we had the push to the upside. I'm looking at this as a lower high in comparison to the high over there. So if that is going to be a lower high, you expect price to continue down to the low, and so on and so forth. So that's my kind of thinking with CHF-JPY here. So drop into the 4-hour chart. I'm seeing lower highs in the 4-hour chart as well. So we've got the high over here. They've got another lower high there, and you've got equal highs here. Very awkward drawing, but you guys get the picture. Another big drop to the downside, and I'm looking at this as the pullback of that move. I think we just about tapped 0.618 with that pullback last week. Now coming back to retest that resistance as well. This could end up being a nice short. So if I do see a healthy rejection here, I will look to take some shorts here with Swiss yen, stop loss above the high. Let's see if I can get a swing back to the lows here. But more importantly, back to these lows at 165,500, and probably a lot further than that as well. If this is price going to revert back on itself from creating the new all-time high, we can go a lot further than that. So this is why it's an opportunity which I'm really focused on, because with a trading stock, it means you can take advantage of such a big move if it does play out in your favor. Worst case scenario, of course, you take the loss, but as long as you're managing risk, that it's not too much of a big deal. But yeah, in terms of the location, I'm really happy with it. Come back into a really key area as well, which I've talked a lot about throughout last week and pretty much the week before as well. So it's still in a comfortable level where shorts make sense. Nice confluence. I believe we're coming to the 200, or just kind of trailing around the 200 moving average there as well. So there's a lot of confidence stacked in this area. for Swiss yen. No sell opportunity just yet, but maybe it does form pretty soon. So CHF, JPY, and pound yen are the ones I'm focused on. Euro yen has looked okay, but it's just had a too big of a drop for me to like it as much as Swiss and pound. So if I do go to the daily chart here as well, so first of all, Euro yen's already had a strong reaction off that low, so it's coming from daily support. Not really something I do want to short anyway. But I do think we can go and take up below here, because if we are forming this massive head and shoulder pattern, so you got the left head, right shoulder, and of course that's the neckline. I do expect that to eventually break. So Euro yen still a pair which I do expect downside from as well. It's just Swiss yen, pound yen looks a lot better, and it's not coming from daily support either. But yeah, if this is going to be another lower high in this sequence as well, but whip out the fib from the high to the low, you can see another market that's pulled roughly into that 0.618 area. Come back to retest some structure here as well. This to me looks like a nice place for a short as well for Euro yen. Push down, maybe nice little double top. Catch my shorts from there. Catch the next lower high, and Bob's your uncle. You've got a nice sell opportunity. Again, nothing's guaranteed. We're just trading from areas where we could see highs form and trying to catch the reactions off that. Maybe it turns into be a really nice swing trade. Maybe it's only a short reaction. Maybe it's a loss. It all comes down to your trade management and how you're looking to manage your positions. But it's definitely a very healthy place for a short. We're roughly in that 200 moving average area, which is nice as well. It just depends if price is going to hold this. If we do see evidence of price breaking through and momentum sustains, then of course I'll back away. It wasn't a trade for me to take anyway. But if I do see the evidence, then I like the sells. But of course, I'll probably focus on Swiss or pound. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro yen as well. In terms of Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, these have been a bit more awkward, I must say. Because if I do get any shorts with these guys, it has to be the retest of the range, because there's no other area which I like to get involved with. So of course you've got the range here roughly, and price broke through that a long time ago. Lovely break to the downside. This is still the area which shorts look good from. If price can make its way all the way up there, which I'm not too sure we will do, but if we do that, then it's a nice short, definitely. Retest the range, form that high, and look for the continuation to the downside. If I scoot to the daily chart, this is still where I expect price to make its way towards 93.5. So I like the sells there. You've got the 200 on the daily moving through that area as well. So that's a nice kind of added confluence. But the idea is that we're looking for that lower high. And that's kind of the area which I would like it for it to happen. If I draw the fib from the high to the low, probably lines with 0.618. Yeah, just about coming back into that area there too. So still a very healthy short. Should price get back up there again, stops above the high, targets back at that low. If you're feeling a little bit braver, back down there as well. And of course, New Zealand yen, we're looking at a very similar opportunity. So again, you got the range over here. There's your high. There's your low roughly. And there's the low you want price to come back and retest. And of course, if I jump to the daily chart, you've got the low which you're looking for price to come back into. So yeah, whether price will make that pullback or not, it's difficult to say, but that's kind of where I would anticipate price moving towards. It's a nice little pullback up there. Retest some structure, get your sell, whip out the fib from the high to the low, probably 0.618 territory as well. Yeah, same thing as well. 0.618 in that area. Looking for confirmation, stops above the high. Hopefully a nice swing, at least back to the low here, but possibly back down there as well. So the reason why I like the yen pair so much is because the downside opportunity is very high. I know that if the yen pairs do sell off, they can sell off very aggressively. So from a swing point of view, it's an opportunity which could be very rewarding if it does play out, of course. But yeah, really nice area for a short, and that's kind of really where I'm at with the yen pairs. Pullback shorts, but at the moment, CHF JPY really does have my full attention. In fact, if I do see a strong reaction on the next 4-hour candle close, probably will look to get involved in a trade here. I do see a strong enough push. We'll take a trade that looks something like this, stops above the high. then yeah, looking for a target back at the lows there, but hopefully something more like this. And then I'll have 2 yen positions, but we'll see how that goes. Still a long way away. What's up, USA? Okay, XBT, we'll take a look out for you, no problem. Morning, Ben. Welcome to the stream. My weekend was good. It was good. Thank you. I hope yours was well too. Well rested, ready to go again in the markets. Yeah, when it does open, we'll see what happens. I mean, we do have a lot of news this week, so my main focus will be kind of the interest rates on Wednesday. But we do have CPI, we do have Bank of England as well on Wednesday too. So a lot of news events back and forth. What's up, Tony Gold? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well, my man. Kingsley, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Good to see you as well. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Yeah, show some love. It does really help out. I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. Okay, Euros are, USDs are, New Zealand CAD, Oz, New Zealand dollar. Wishing you a great week. Appreciate it. Right back at you, Kingsley. But yeah, we'll go through those markets for you. No problemo. Ben, yes, definitely very heavy news week this week. Yeah, of course. I mean, isn't next week Christmas? Or am I mistaken? Yeah, next week is Christmas. So yeah, it will be pretty dead from next week until the end of the week after. So after New Year's, probably not going to see too much movement. But yeah, I guess the year's going to end with a bang. Well, we'll be the judge of that this week. It might not. It might just be very anti-climatical. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with CHF JPY. We'll go through some of the requests there. XPT USD. Okay, so is this the one I looked at last time? Maybe it was Awanda. There we go. Okay, so last time we had a look at this, I was favoring a bit more upside. That did not happen. Price pushed down very aggressively there. Okay, so it looks like we had the sell a little bit earlier because the market is still very consistent with the lower highs, but I was looking for another push back to the high there before the short because we were putting all these lower highs in. So that would be the area to short from, but it looks like this area held very well and we had a really big sell-off. So now with platinum, it's a bit of an awkward place, I'm not going to lie. It would be nice if we were to push back up again and we take another short. But this is where do you think platinum is slowly headed towards, back to the low? I think the bigger move is to the upside, but we might push down first before that happens, before the big buy. Is the weekly chart. Let me push down to the daily. Okay, so daily, we have been pretty consistent with some of these higher lows here, so it's not actually a bad place for a long here, but I think it's a bit aggressive. The bigger move is with the sellers here. So yeah, I mean, in terms of taking some opportunities, I probably would want to see another big push to the upside and try and catch a short there again. I think this is naturally going to be a nice place for a buy. It's just I would be a bit careful about how long I hold that for. A nice corrective move back into that zone because we are still pretty corrective. You probably will see price snap to the upside. My question is just how far. I think if we keep an eye on the lower highs prices forming here, that could be a reasonable target to look at. And if we break through, then yeah, we might see that bigger move. Or if we do respect it, we could come straight back down. But this is not a bad place for a buy. Still seeing the consecutive higher lows the market's printing. So that's a nice sign that, okay, the buyers are still holding up pretty well. It's kind of like a big kind of triangular pattern here with the lower highs and the lower lows. So this is back now at bullish territory. Yeah, very messy drawings, excuse that. But yeah, as we come back to these areas, I would anticipate a bounce, but I'd watch out for that low high formation. So yeah, around 905, I would say. Nice area for some longs, but I'll be careful as we approach 940. In terms of Eurozar, did you say I used these are as well? Yeah, I'll take a look at Euro. Oh, that's not Eurozar. I'll take a look at both of them. So Eurozar, okay. Oh, we had a big sell-off with this one. I remember last time I was talking about some buys if we can get nice break and retest, but looks like we never got that move. Price just stayed bearish and had a big rollover. Would have been some nice buys if you broke the high there. Okay, so with this one, I'll probably start focusing more on the shorts now because the market keeps successfully taking up the low and staying bearish. We have come back into some big areas here on the left, but I don't think they look strong enough to push the market back up again. So yeah, I would probably be looking at, I mean, if I'm looking for a big swing here, I'll probably be looking at something like this forming another lower high in this sequence and then another short. As you can see, all the lower highs prices printed in very, very well. Bunch of lower highs there, looking for the next one for the next short. I think that could be a really nice trade. Of course, at the moment, we kind of just swept the lows here. So it's probably territory for maybe a big buy at some point. It's very aggressive because you're going against the trend. Everything is still pretty bearish, but I do think we probably will see some upside soon, and then we can speak about some sells, maybe off this zone. If not, then maybe off this zone higher up. Retest that area of consolidation, which we haven't got the retest yet. We'll come back and retest that resistance with numerous rejections. So yeah, overall, I think there's more downside to be had. We've had a pretty nice downtrend here, which looks like it's still in play. After seeing that big sell-off taking up the lows, I do think we'll probably see a bit of a recovery to the upside. These are the shorts I would be looking at for the bigger swing. 19.25 and 19.6. In terms of USD ZAR, USD ZAR, so yeah, this was in a nice place for a long, seeing a bit of a reaction. Probably be a bit careful with the low highs as well because the market has been so consistent with all of them. So just highlight the major ones, as we can see, potentially that as well. The reason why I like the buys for USDs is that we did take out some major lows here. So we just about pierced through those lows. So I do think this could see some bullish behavior. And we have come back to respect some structure here as well. And we are seeing a bit of a bounce, but I would be careful when we start pushing back into these areas, looking to secure gains because we could very much form lower highs and continue back down bearish. So yeah, for USDZAR, I think the buys still look good. And if you're not in a trade now, you probably want price to at least come back and retest the lows again before trying to take some buys. This is still in your bullish territory, but like I said, as you approach these areas, I would start to be a little bit careful, especially the high there as well, because very easily could still form a lower high and come back down again. But this is kind of where you want to look to take your buys if you're not ready in the trade, to look for the retest, higher low, then the continuation to the upside. But yeah, I would be careful from 18 above. That's kind of where I'm looking at sellers stepping into the market, trying to push price back down again. But yeah, 17.7, I would be looking at some buys and push to the upside. Okay, take care, Will. Have a good one, my man. Don't forget to like and sub. Appreciate it. Adios. See you tomorrow. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, feel free to drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. But yeah, take care, Will. We'll see you tomorrow. So yeah, that's my kind of outlook on the ZAR. New Zealand CAD and Aussie New Zealand dollar. So New Zealand CAD, an interesting one. I am looking at some more downside for New Zealand CAD because I'm not pretty confident that we are going to continue this bullish trend. We've got these high lows here, 1, 2, 3, and possibly price might continue to the upside and see the next high low. But if we were, I guess we would have seen it by now. The fact that price keeps breaking to the downside once, second time as well, is not really giving me a lot of confidence that price is about to turn around. It still is an area where we could see some upside, but as I said, the last couple of weeks, what I would wait to see is price shift that momentum. So break through the highs first, and then look for some opportunities off the back of that. So we've got this lovely channel out the way, and maybe some retest there for some longs. At the moment, still kind of trading below that. And if we can see New Zealand CAD take up this low, then I do think we'll get a nice bearish trend forming. And we'll probably come back and test those daily lows down at 0.796. And maybe a lot further as well. But what I'm looking at for New Zealand CAD is, either one or two things. We're going to respect this low and continue the trend, or we're going to break through and come back to the low here at 0.795. It looks like we're going to get the latter, and price is going to break through that. So if that's the case, I'm waiting for price to give me some pullbacks, lower highs. And if we do take out this low here on the left, that's a really strong sign that says, okay, we're probably not going to continue bullish now. Because if we take out this low, it's going to take a heck of a move for us to push the upside now. So most likely we'll probably pull back from a lower high and keep attacking to the downside. So that becomes a nice short opportunity. I'm looking at something similar on Aussie CAD, which we can take a look in a second. But yeah, New Zealand CAD, that's kind of what I'm waiting on. Not the cleanest pair in the world and not really a pair that's on the watch list. But if we do take out that low with some momentum, I will start to look into it in a bit more detail. And Aussie New Zealand dollar, we'll take a look as well. So Aussie New Zealand dollar, I don't mind this one as much. Not really a fan favorite of this one, but I do like the number of times we've respected this trend line. One of the most respected trend lines you ever see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, a bit of a fake out there. 5, 6. If price was to come back there again, naturally, again, looking for another bounce to the upside. So I don't mind that for Aussie New Zealand dollar. It looks like the market is slowly trying to correct to the upside. So I would be looking at a bigger push to the downside first for some big buys later on. I don't mind some sells up here because the market has held resistance very well up here around 1.108. I think another push to the upside does look like a nice place for a short. Nice move back down to the lows and then maybe further as well. I think that's a nice opportunity there for Aussie New Zealand dollar. But really the market is ranging. These are the lows, these are the highs. This is a big fake out. So you kind of want to focus right at the high or right at the low when you're looking for your entries. And that would be back at 1.108, or that would be waiting for price to push back down to the low of the trend line. Those are the key turning points there for Aussie New Zealand dollar. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'll be focused on. In terms of my bias, I'm a bit more neutral in this pair because overall the pair is pretty sideways. So in these pairs, I wouldn't have so much of a bias. I would just be looking at areas where price can turn around. Are we high enough for price to likely have a dip? Are we low enough for price to likely to bounce? And then I can use that to my advantage and base some trades, looking for some counter trend moves, some reversals, and take those trades. But it's very hard to look for continuation trades in this situation because we don't tend to continue. We have a nice swing, then we come back on ourselves, have a nice swing, come back on ourselves, and there's just no direction with this market, and there hasn't been for a very long time, since 2014 really. So with this pair, looking for trend continuations or following momentum is always going to be a difficult game, and you probably will find it very hard to make a profit. So with this one, it's about just timing the sells well, timing the buys well, and by doing that, you're kind of waiting for price to be as high up as possible to a degree and as low as possible to a degree as well. So yeah, the shorts around 1.108 look good. And yeah, buys around that trend line look good since price has respected it on so many occasions. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with those markets. Let me know if you were looking at any particular time frames you want me to look at as well. But I'll go through what I'm looking at, my watch list. I mean, at the moment, CHF is right at the top of that. As I said earlier, could potentially take an entry on the next 4-hour candle. So I need to keep a close eye on that. If I see a strong enough close, I will look for an entry in this area. Stops above the high and look to see if I can short it back to the low. Then I'll be doubled up in the yen positions. Of course, I've got my CAD yen trade, but now I've been Swiss yen, but I'm not too worried about that. Normally, I wouldn't want to get into the same type of market, but because I've already booked profits, I've already moved stop loss to break even, I don't really see CAD yen as a risk anymore. So it's almost like a fresh trade, really. But yeah, this is an area which I will be looking for entries, just looking to see if I can get that confirmation um, in the next 4 hour candle. So CHF JPY shorts really high up on the list. New Zealand CHF is another pair I'm looking at. It was the bonus pair from this week's analysis on the weekend. I'm looking for another low high with this one because, again, similar reasons to Euro CHF. Pretty much every time frame is pointing down. If you start from the monthly chart, zoom out, what the market is doing, it's falling. Weekly chart, what's it doing? Falling. Daily chart, what's the market doing? Falling there as well. So everything is just pointing down. So naturally taking shorts in these conditions makes a load of sense. Then it just comes back to timing them well. We've got key support here, which we broke through not long ago. So I'm looking to see if price can come back, retest, form the next lower high, and then get the rollover. I like this trend line here, connecting the highs there. So I'm kind of looking at price coming back into that area, maybe tabbing the trend line as well, but most importantly, respecting that level of resistance and trying to find the next lower high. And the reason why I like this one as well is because, again, risk to reward looks really good. Expecting a move back down into the lows here at 0.5 as well. So I like New Zealand CHF. It's a pair that has got a lot of downside potential. If the trend in the higher time frame is going to continue, this can keep falling very, very far. Now it's just about seeing if I can time the pullback well. And 0.52, 0.518 is kind of my area of interest, really. So hopefully a bit more upside for New Zealand CHF, and now look for some shorts. I have been keeping an eye on Aussie CHF as well, but hasn't broke through that major area of support yet. So for me, it's not really a pair I'm looking at too much. If it does break through this low, then similar to New Zealand CHF, I do think we'll just come back to the low here. Pretty sure we've got the all-time lows on our left here as well. So I do think we'll make a really big move, but haven't broke through support yet. So I'm going to stay patient with that one. But New Zealand CHF has done that. So that's kind of where my focus lies. So I'll probably say those are the two favorite I have. I do like pound yen, but because CHF JPY is already kind of setting up for me, so I'm going to kind of probably not focus so much on pound yen anymore because I'm not going to trade CHF JPY and pound yen together. I'm just going to pick the better one and then take that pair. But pound yen also coming back into a double top there, resistance 2. Could see a nice rejection, but nothing quite just yet. But definitely something to keep a lookout for. Okay, no problem. We'll have a good one, my man. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. But yeah, have a good one, my man. So yeah, with pound yen, looking for some shorts there too. But like I said, because I'm looking to take CHF JPY instead, no need to try and get into both. Just pick the one and focus on that one because most likely they'll both fail or both work together. So there's no need to try and force things on both markets. But it's in another area for lower high, which I do like to the downside, an area which we could see some downside. In terms of the USD markets, there's two I do like. Dollar CAD longs, because of course we've broken through the high very, very well. And the market seems to be not looking back. So if we are going to stay above this high, the high that we broke through, and this is kind of the next level I expect price to get to, which is all the way back at 1.46. And yeah, it could mean a lot more upside for USD CAD over the next few weeks, few months potentially. So from a swing perspective, there's a lot of meat on the table here. And if the trend continues, we can go very far. So it's one, I'm looking for a pullback, trying to find the next high low in this sequence. And again, look and see if I can trail stops and really take advantage of this move. I highly doubt I will take advantage of the move all the way up to 1.46 because there'll probably be bigger corrections, a bit of consolidation, reversals. I don't expect price just to cleanly move to the upside. It could be the case, but you wouldn't necessarily expect that. So hopefully you can find some entries at this area, look for a nice bounce and see where we can go from there. But I think dollar CAD's a really nice opportunity. It's just not really trading near my level right now. So again, nothing really to focus on too much, keep an eye out for, but that still could take 3, 4, 5 days potentially to retrace to that level. And that could take us into next week. And then next week it's a little bit dry because you've got Christmas that week, then you've got New Year's the week after as well. So it might be a while, but still going to keep an eye just in case we do make a move. We do have a lot of news this week. Maybe price does dart off in that direction. And the other USD pair, which I do like as well, which is pound USD, which I'm looking for the double bottom. bit more of an aggressive trade, but it's definitely a trade which I like because of where we are situated. We are forming these major high lows, one over there on the left. Can you see that? No, not quite. There you go. So you got that high over there. You got the next one over here. You got that third one over there. And I'm looking for potentially the fourth in that same area. So I like the high lows the market's forming. It's back in an area where, again, makes sense to form the next high low. I would be looking at the double bottom in this area for some buys. Again, a bit more aggressive, but risk to reward makes sense. I would have my stop loss pretty tight below the low. And if you do catch a nice bounce, I'll look to trail stops and see how far we can take it. But at the moment, pound USD is still kind of holding on for dear life at that level there. But I'm looking for it to break, push a little bit further down, retest 1.25, and hopefully from there I can find some nice entries to take pound USD back to the upside. So those are the two USD pairs I'm looking at: pound USD longs, dollar CAD longs, which is funny because they kind of contradict each other. But I'd imagine they'll kind of sort themselves out. So if dollar is going to be strong, then I'll get a nice dollar CAD opportunity. And if dollar is going to be weak, dollar CAD will not set up for me, and I'll probably get a nice pound USD opportunity. So I would imagine they will shape up. But that's kind of where I'm at with USD. In terms of yen, like I said, pound yen shorts, CHF JPY shorts. And then in terms of the crosses, not really looking at much of them. I like New Zealand CHF on the short side of things as well. New Zealand CAD, I need to take out the low. Aussie CAD could be a nice one to look at as well, but it needs to see a lot more downside before I start taking it very seriously, because it's similar to New Zealand CAD in terms of you've got a lovely bullish channel, which looks like it's coming to an end or potentially has ended already. And if that's the case, it could open up the door to a really big sell for New Zealand CAD and something, for Aussie CAD, sorry, and something I'll be very interested in getting involved with. However, we have broken through, but we're kind of just hovering in the middle of nowhere. And overall, the structure, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, is still very, very corrective. So it's not really a trend which I want to follow just yet. If we can pick up the pace, see a nice sell to the downside, something like that, that reinstates that momentum, that shows that, okay, that corrective nature's ended and we're bearish again, then yeah, I'll be looking at some pullbacks, a retest of the high here, the low there, sorry, and then looking to see if I can trade it to the next low and the next low after that, and so on and so forth, potentially all the way back to the low there as well. Because if we go to the weekly chart, this could be another lower high forming. You can see all the lower highs Aussie CAD has been making over quite a long period of time, and this could be another one that price is forming for another big push. So it could be in for a really big sell to the low. So I like Aussie CAD, I like New Zealand CAD from a higher time frame perspective, because there's a lot of downside on the cards, but lower time frame needs to tidy up if I am going to get some shorts here. So that's really what I'm waiting for. But it's very hypothetical because I need to really see a big drop this week, and then I'll look for the pullbacks after. So that's why it's not really on the watch list. Got a lot of work to do, and I got pairs which have set up for me. Now I'm just waiting for entry. So that's really where my focus lies. But we'll see what Aussie CAD can do. And then some of the other crosses, pound Aussie, pound NZD, not really focused on either. I'm looking at some counter trend opportunities there, but overall, there's nothing really there for me just yet. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in terms of my watch list. Just gonna have to keep a close eye on pound yen at the moment. See what type of 4-hour candle we do get. If so, I could be looking to take a trade in the next couple of hours. If not, wait for the candle after. That's kind of really where I am. But yeah, we'll go through some of the crosses, because although I might not be necessarily looking at them now, there could be some opportunities on the lower time frames or something I'm looking at a little bit later. For example, like pound NZD, which has taken out some major highs, and overall the market has been trending to the upside very well. Zoom out, taking out some major highs here, but looks like we're starting to try and push on further. So if I'm going to get into some buys for pound NZD, I want to see a bigger pullback with this one. I'm drawing the fib from the high to the low there. This is kind of the area which I'm looking for a bounce from, back in this consolidation there. Because we've taken out some more major highs here as well. not looking at any shallow break and retest, and you see some bigger pullbacks for pound NZD. So this is kind of the area I'm interested in. If we do form some nice low lows and low highs, I will look for some counter trend sells. But yeah, that's just not forming at all right now. This is probably the more likely opportunity. So if we were to get a bigger pullback, which may or may not happen, but this is a nice place for a long 2.16 and try and see the next bounce. But overall, it's a very bullish market. We've taken out some major highs. So naturally, going to be looking at a bit of a pullback forming, and hopefully we can see some bigger retracements after that. Jack Force New Zealand CADs. Yeah, I just touched New Zealand CADs. I'm looking for price to break the low and then look for some shorts. Nice bullish channel. Looks like price is potentially breaking through. Wait and see if we can break through the low here, because that will confirm to me bearish structure in the lower time frames. Then I'll be looking at lower highs after that, and then of course a short back to 0.79800. But yeah, the plan for New Zealand CAD is waiting for a big breakout of that bearish channel and shorting it back to the lows here. Because again, similar to Aussie CAD as well. If we go to the weekly time frame, again, you can see how consistent we've been with all of these lower highs in this area. Lower highs consecutively. Looks like maybe we form another one, and we're going to see some bleeding to the lows here. So very bearish. And if we do break out that channel, that's the sign for me that that bearish move is about to happen. And hope we can find some pullbacks, maybe in the retest of this low, or maybe the retest of this low here. So that's kind of where I'm at with New Zealand CAD. In terms of pound Aussie, so similar situation with pound NZD. We've taken out some major highs over here. Trend is still very much up, but if I am going to take any more buys with pound Aussie, need to see a bigger pullback with this one. Looking at least push back to the 50, so this area here. And that's kind of where I look for some longs. It does line up very well with the high here on the left. It's kind of the area which I want to see price come back and retest. I know it's a pretty big pullback, but judging with the way price is moving, taking up these major highs, we're seeing big corrections afterwards. That's really the area which I know if we do get a pullback to, it makes sense for me to hold on for a big swing back to the high. If I take any longs here, it might just be for the afternoon, which is nothing wrong with that if you're looking for a trade for a few hours. But as someone's looking to swing trades, I need to wait for bigger pullbacks so I can catch the bigger moves. I'm taking shallow pullbacks and I can't necessarily expect to see big moves. But yeah, looking at big moves to the downside. Also, if the counter trend does form, I wouldn't mind some shorts. It has to be clean, has to be nice though. If not, then I'll just wait for the buys further down. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound Aussie. In terms of Euro NZD, so I did touch on this one earlier. I said there could be some nice shorts. Because again, we're overall in a range. Price has found its way back to a key level at the high there. Could see some nice shorts come back to reaction. Nice move back to the low. But overall, not really a big fan of this pair at all. If I'm going to trade a range, I want to be right at the top, right at the bottom. And that would be around 1.8 through 84. Yeah, around 1.84. Or back down to 1.742. So this is not quite the high, still high enough where I think shorts look good, but I wouldn't be looking for such a big move. I'll be a little bit more conserved on the position. If you can get pushed back to 1.806, I think that's a reasonable area to take some shorts and look to lock in some gains. And you can always leave some positions to run. But yeah, UNSD, I like the shorts from 1.822. Overall price is still very corrective on the way price is moving to that area, which is a nice sign that, okay, we're not very sustainable, still lacking momentum. There's still a very strong possibility we do snap to the downside. It just might not be such a big snap. We may still want to have a reaction, but continue higher later on. So watch out for that. And in terms of Euro Aussie is not a bad area last time I checked it. So yeah, Euro Aussie, not a bad area for a short, coming back into resistance up here. I think overall this is a nice place for some downside for a nice short. Again, if I expand the high time frames, it's not great price action either. So it's a similar boat. Got some equal highs over there, equal lows here. Back at that's not what I wanted to do. Equal lows back down here, and we have pulled back into some resistance again. We have been forming some slight lower highs. So one over there, second over there. Potentially could be seeing that form again. But it looks like we might have a third test of this area here. So another push to the upside. And that could be a nice little sell to take a look at. Maybe this afternoon or maybe tomorrow or maybe just during this week sometime. Some shorts in this area. As long as we don't break through the high here. If we break through the high there, then you might just see a swing right back to where we came from, which is back at 1.698. Might just see a swing back up there as well. But if you can maintain this structure, maintain those lower highs, could be a nice short there, and a nice move to the downside. But again, I would probably classify it in a similar situation with UNZD. Not trying to be too optimistic with the shorts. Might be a nice reaction back to this area. I would be very quick to call it a day, and not trying to get too caught up in it. But in an area where low high could form, so keep an eye on 1.655 for some shorts in that area, possibly move back to 1.635. Then you can always leave some positions to run if you're looking for the bigger push to 1.6 because it's not in a bad area. In terms of some of the other crosses, so euro pounds in a really nice area, which I think is not a bad trade to be honest, because if you look at the monthly chart, there we go. If you look at the monthly chart, we're in a really big area where price can definitely turn around. Massive, massive support in this area. Last month's candle was pretty strong to the downside, but not breaking through the zone, which is the key thing. This month's candle is only halfway through, so left a bit of a wick to the downside. So indecisive, we could still turn around and see a big push to the upside, or we very much could break through. But we'll find that out when the monthly candle does close. But in the meantime, I would anticipate a bounce. I'm always going to be anticipating a bounce from these big levels until proven otherwise. So yeah, until I see that monthly candle close below at the end of the month, then I'll say, okay, we've got a breakout, and I'll start speaking about some breakout opportunities. But for now, still very much looking at the bounce to the upside. And the reason why I like Euro Pound is because number one, we're at a big area of support in the higher time frames, and number two, we had some really powerful support on the left, which we broke through with a lot of momentum last week, but it looks like it was just a big fake out. Very aggressive momentum, and then we followed by a very aggressive move to the upside, more aggressive to the upside, giving us again another V-shaped pattern here. So I would be looking at a correction to the downside, retesting these lows, another big push to the upside. We had a very similar pattern not long ago. Price has some really nice support here. We had a really aggressive move down, move back up again, retested, lovely move to the upside. Looking at literally the same pattern happen again. If I just clear this out the way. So again, price support here on the left, price broke to the downside, aggressive move back up again. This does leave behind a really nice level for a buy. So yeah, overall, Euro Pound to me looks like a nice buy opportunity at 0.827. I wouldn't be looking for anything optimistic in terms of trying to catch that reversal. I know we're trading at the major level of support, but you can see what happened last time. Nice reaction, only lasted for a few days before price did spill over. I would probably be looking at something similar again. If you can get a nice entry in that area, I would say targets kind of back to where we came from. If you can get a trade back to the high there, I think that's a great trade in itself. Call it a day. You can always leave some positions to run. I would book majority of profits at that high because I know how corrective price is. And after all, we are still very much in a bearish trend here. So we do have to pay respect to that, even though we know we're at some big levels where that bearish trend could very much change direction. But it's still got to show it respect where respect is due. So that's kind of what I like about Euro Pound. So yeah, I would keep an eye on that. Not my favorite pair in the world, but I always like it when we do have big fake outs of levels. The retest after tends to be a decent trade. So I would keep an eye on that. And in terms of the other CHF pairs, we've already touched on a couple. Like I said, New Zealand CHF still one I'm looking at. Pound CHF still one I'm actually kind of looking at as well. It's just I need to wait patiently for the breakout. And I'm only looking for the breakout to be to the downside as well. I'm not really interested in price breaking to the upside. That's not really what I'm after. So as you can see, you've got the range highs there, you've got the range lows there. The plan for pound CHF is, again, similar to the yen pairs, big drop in July/August, create a new low down here. And I'm literally looking at this bullish move as being a pullback for that, for price to continue back to the lows there. You've got the prior high over here, you got the next lower high, and I'm looking at, maybe a big triple top here for the next lower high and a big sell to the downside. That is the plan there of pound CHF, and I like it because there's a lot of mileage to the downside, a lot of distance, lines up very well with the higher time frames. If we go to the weekly chart, look at the bigger picture here. Market overall is still pretty bearish. Monthly, same thing as well. So it does add up. It makes sense when the not necessarily right direction, but we're trading in the direction where we're seeing predominantly the market moving. So as a trader who deals with probability, stacking things in your favor, it's always nice to have the higher time frames in your favor. In this case, we do. So as I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, still waiting for the break of this low here. If we can break out that support level, that'd be fantastic. And then look for some opportunities on the retest of a high somewhere, shorts back to the low. So yeah, it takes a lot of boxes, risk to reward, high time frames, really nice range as well. Not a fan of ranges, but if we can get a nice tightly knit range and a strong break of that, we do see normally a lot of momentum shortly afterwards, and they do normally present some nice opportunities. So again, if pound CHF can break the low there, look for some retest. I would like some lower highs to short back into 1.079. And potentially further as well. But if we do break the upside, not really interested. That kind of does not invalidate my bias, because we haven't broken structure. To invalidate my bias based on structure, we need to actually take out that high. But if we do break to the upside, unless it's a big fake out, so let's say we break to the upside very aggressively, come straight back down, then that's a different story, because then I will be looking at some shorts on the retest of the high and then looking to take it back to the downside, and that would be a very nice trade. So if price was to do something like that, I wouldn't mind. But what I don't want it to do is break the high, start looking at retest, and start using that to the upside. Although it could be a nice trade, but it doesn't really align with the higher time frames and what I'm looking for. I'm very much looking at the continuation of that move in July as what I'm doing with the yen pairs too. So I need to see evidence of that happening, and a break of that consolidation is what I'm after. In terms of CAD CHF, another CHF pair, which again, not the biggest fan of, I must say. Overall, another one that has been ranging. There's your equal highs roughly. I mean, you could probably draw it like this, to be honest. Use that as your equal highs there. That's just more of a minor area of resistance in the middle of the range. But overall, this is your resistance predominantly. This is your support. And price has just been bouncing between the two. So yeah, it's been a tricky one, I must say, with CAD CHF. Again, there's another market which is overall bearish, but we have made all-time lows. So that's why it's a little bit tricky. With pound CHF, we had a big drop, and now we pull back from that. We're nowhere near the all-time lows. There's still a reason for price to keep falling. With CAD CHF, on the other hand, we had the all-time lows. So naturally speaking, there's a chance for a bit of a pullback and a push to the upside, which is what I'm a bit wary of, and why I'm not really actively looking to short CAD CHF, because I do think we'll kind of do a bigger pullback at some point. If I whip out the old trend line, we kind of got a bit of a channel here. If I clone that, bring that to the low, you can see prices being forming really nice lower highs, really nice lower lows, and we're still kind of around the bottom side of that trend line there. So I'm under the impression that we may still get something like this to happen before maybe a swing, or maybe price wants to break to the upside, because we've taken out some major lows here. So I think even something like this is probably due for the bigger channel price is making. But yeah, that's a story for another day. I'll wait for us to break the high of the channel first before I get into that. But yeah, for now, we're still at the low of that channel. So I do think, again, it's just a bit difficult to short. Not that we can't break through. Channels do break the downside as well. They don't always break to the upside, but I wouldn't bet on it. So that's why I'm not as interested here with CAD CHF. So, and the fact that we're middle of the range as well. I mean, if we were to push back to the high, there might be some nice shorts up there. But overall, very, very tricky conditions. So not really too interested in that. Then, of course, as I said, New Zealand CHF looks the best one. Overall, still very bearish, still forming lower highs. Looking for a push back to the low. But first, I do want to see a bit of a pullback. So I'm kind of hoping for that. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for a bit of CHF weakness to get the pullback then, of course, to short CHF JPY as well. That'll kind of be like two birds, one stone. Then Aussie CHF not looking particularly great either. If we can break out that support level, then I will be looking at a short back to the low down there, which is 0.53652, but overall not looking particularly great. In terms of the indices, I think US 30 is still in a nice area. I haven't seen much of a reaction, have we? This is a trade idea which I mapped out last week, looking to take a bounce off that zone. Saw a bit of a bounce, but not much really. Price overall still in that area, so I think buys still look good. Maybe a nice little double bottom can form, but this is still the area of confluence, area of focus. You got the 0.5, 0.618 in that area. Maybe you dip a little bit more to hit 0.618, but overall in a very comfortable level for a buy. You got the 200 through that area. Nice area of demand, big push to the upside. Now back in that area again. And of course, you got a very consistent trend, which is making higher high and higher low repeatedly. So it's in a nice place for a buy. And as long as price stays respecting this low here, I'm still very bullish on US 30. If you were to break through that low, that would be a big break of structure. And at that point, I'll be expecting a bit of a counter trend to form. But for now, we're still seeing convincing swings to the upside, and I'm looking at another one forming. I also like how we've moved as well to the downside. Still very corrective in this channel. So as we stay corrective like that, I think that is a nice sign that says, okay, we're probably not going to get the big sell. Of course, we have to add the word probably. Nothing's guaranteed. And we probably are going to push to the upside. Maybe it's not all the way to the swing high. Maybe it's halfway. There's so many different variables, but there's a good chance we do bounce from this area. So if you're looking at US 30, 43,900 would be a smart place to look for some longs and look for some entries in that direction. If you look at some of the other indices, S&P 500. So this one created new all-time highs not long ago. We are starting to stall a little bit, forming some consolidation to a degree. I wouldn't say it's perfect consolidation, but overall the market's a little bit flat. Again, we might see a bigger pullback with the S&P as well. Whip out the fib from the high to the low. I'm not the biggest fan of the S&P because the confluence isn't as stacked as US 30, really. Maybe NAS as well. We'll take a look at NAS in a moment. But overall, it's still a market that's very consistent with the higher highs and higher lows. So again, it's still a market which I want to follow this trend, keep up with those higher lows, and keep attacking to the upside. There's one thing I've learned with the indices is that you don't want to bet against the trend, especially when we're in that environment. There's sometimes we're in that bearish environment where we are seeing lower highs where you probably want to be a bit more cautious. But when the market is convincingly to the upside, no one really knows when we're going to get that bigger sell. It will happen at some point, but the market's still so consistent for all these higher lows. So you just want to keep attacking them and keep with that positive risk reward as well. You don't have to win every trade to be profitable here. You just want to make sure you're trying to catch those bigger moves. And if you can have a nice refined entry, you could be looking at some really rewarding trades. So yeah, S&P looking for that bigger pullback as well, and 59.60 looks the best. If I take a look at NAS 100, so this one's still looking very bullish. I still do like this area here. We've kind of left it in the dust a little bit, but if we do have a bigger correction, that area there is still very much a possibility for some buys. If I whip out the old fib from the low to the high. So it was previously lining up for 0.5. Now it looks like it's lining up for 0.618. And if you do push a little bit higher, I'll probably line up a little bit better. But for now, this is where I'm drawing it. Still looking for that bigger pullback. You can see we're a bit more corrected now as well with the NAS. You can see how corrected we were. If you compare the structure now to the structure when we broke to the upside, a lot more momentum here, a lot cleaner price action, consecutive bullish candles, strong bullish candles consecutively. Here we do have a couple scattered around, but overall we're seeing some strong candles as well to the downside. And we're seeing more frequent corrections. So it's a sign that NAS is getting tired and the pullback is on the cards. And I still like this confluence here. You got the 200 in that area. You got the 0.5, 0.618. And maybe if we push a little bit higher, you can start talking about the retest of the high here. So I'd start to probably look at both these areas. Before I was just focused more on 2100. No, 20. 21,000, which is this K here. But if we do push up a little bit higher, especially if that 0.5 starts lining up with the higher like so, the 200 will probably catch up to it as well. This will then become a really nice area to then buy as well. But yeah, overall indices still very bullish to me. For NAS, I'll keep an eye on 21,200 if you push a little bit higher up, but definitely 21K there. And of course, US 30 trading at a very nice area at the moment. Keep an eye on that zone at 43,800. S&P least favorite, but still in very bullish conditions as well. So you're looking for those bigger pullbacks. And again, if NAS and US 30 are going to continue, then there's a good chance you're going to see S&P continue as well. If I take a look at the DAX, see what's cooking on this one. Okay, so the DAX, yeah, still very, I like this. I like it a lot, actually. If I just redo my drawings there, they're a little bit old, but we've, of course, broken through the high there very aggressively. We're definitely due a pullback, starting to become a little bit corrective now as well, similar to the NAS as well. So it's a sign that price is slowing down, not necessarily about to reverse, just slowing down. And again, this is left behind a very nice level to buy from, 19,600, almost a little bit too obvious, that level. But again, if you were to get a bigger pullback there, I think that'll be a very comfortable place to pick up some longs, and a situation where you can look to hold some trades for the longer run. Pretty much lines up with the 50, bang on the money. Probably have the 200 that will come into that area there as well. If price was to have a pretty strong retracement, of course, that will line up very well for some longs. So the DAX looks equally as good as US 30, really. Probably argue that the level is a lot better because it was very clear resistance in the past, and this is now going to have to support. Hopefully, of course, confirmations are very important. I'm not suggesting just buy straight from these areas, but if we do get a push into these areas, I do expect a bounce. But if we want to see evidence of price giving us that bounce, so wicks forming, double bottoms, bullish engulfing candles, want to be seeing evidence of price turning around, not just jumping straight in. And then if we do see that, yeah, looking for the long back to the high and potentially a lot further as well. And as I say with the indices, it's a type of market where you want to trail stops majority of the time. Very rarely do you want to use take profits with indices, just because if you are trading the right direction, you can attain some really big winners with the indices as well. So I think you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you use take profits with the indices, or just any type of finite kind of. You want to maximize your gains with this one. You don't have to use trading stop loss, of course not, but you want to have something that allows you to maximize your gains with these ones. FX in the right conditions, it makes sense, like what the yen pairs were doing throughout 2022, 2023. But then if you look at a market like Euro USD the past year, trading stops probably wouldn't work too well. So yeah, DAX looks really good there, looking at some pullbacks and more upside. And if I take a look at the UK, okay, so overall still looking at longs with this one as well. But overall, I would look for a bigger correction first. I do think price is likely going to make a push back to the high here, which is 84,400. 8,400. But yeah, I would look at a bigger pullback first. Let me get to the weekly chart, see how candles are forming. So yeah, we're just kind of in that another pullback, that consolidation phase. Really, we're kind of doing it over here. We did it over here as well. The market does this quite a lot, but you can see every time we do it, we do eventually break to the upside. Very difficult to time that move very well, but what you can do is just look at simple range play. You know the market is bullish. You know the market has a good chance of breaking to the upside back to the high. You don't know necessarily when it will happen, but if you keep attacking the longs to the downside, so let's say price keeps having these big dips, keep looking to buy them, then you don't know, you might just catch that breakout to the upside and catch a nice winner there. Of course, same with the sells. You can still look to attack the sells from the highs. They're a bit more aggressive because you do expect price to eventually break to the upside. So one of those sells is going to be the big move, but then you run the same risk with the buys as well. Nothing's guaranteed, but I would be much happier looking for buys in these market conditions. So yeah, with UK 100, another bullish indice, pullbacks to these areas, and I do like the buys here. I think in terms of the quality, US 30 looks really good right now. It's in a nice area, so have to keep a close eye on that one. And hopefully from the new year can be a lot more focused on trading US 30 myself afterwards. No problem, Ahmed. Happy to help, man. Happy to help. Is anyone looking to trade the USD pairs this week? I know we got the Fed interest rate on Wednesday, which is going to be a little bit awkward, middle of the week. But as a swing trader, you got to stay on your toes, because you're going to run into big news events pretty much all the time, which is why you have wider stops, trade on higher time frames, look for bigger moves. So you're not going to be as affected by the news events. If you, of course, you're trading the low time frames, then yeah, Fed interest rate is definitely a news event to avoid. But I'll keep an eye on the DXY. I'm not really looking. I'm looking to trade pound USD. I'm looking to trade dollar CAD, but they're not really at my areas just yet. And I don't think they'll be trading at my areas before Wednesday, because pound USD, I'm looking for the double bottom, which is at the low there. I don't think price will be trading at that area before Wednesday, before the interest rates. And dollar CAD, I'm looking for a pullback for a long, and the retest of 1.408. I highly doubt price will be there before Wednesday as well. So most likely I'll be getting involved in opportunities after Wednesday, which means after the interest rate. So I don't have to worry about that too much in terms of a risk standpoint. I'm just going to see how everything does develop. I'm still pretty bullish, at least momentarily, on the DXY. Like I said, we did break through structure last week. Formed a really nice double bottom here as well. Respected it once, came back again. Pretty sure this was NFP actually. Friday, yeah, pretty sure that was NFP. Big wick to the downside, strong close. Being a catalyst for a nice move to the upside. We've broken through the high there. So now I do expect to see some more upside now for the US index, to take us back to 107.6, and then maybe we can start to talk about some sells, or maybe we run straight through. We'll be the judge of that when we do get there. But for now, I do think there's a strong opportunity. We do see more upside for dollar, for USD. So I think some nice opportunities before the interest rates come out would be if Euro USD or pound USD can break through those respective 4-hour levels of support. So you can see if Euro does manage to get a nice little break through this, I do think some nice lower highs on the lower time frames. So scaling down to the hourly, 15-minute, could probably find some nice opportunities like this to take it back into the low. Of course, expecting the DXY to do the opposite, which looks like it's kind of already doing. Looks like it's already had the pullback and retest, and it's ready to go. But you guys get what I mean. Same thing with pound USD as well. Not the move I'm after, but something like that could very much form, break through the low, retest, get some shorts back down into a 1.25. So something like that could very much form on pound and euro before the interest rates come out. Like I said, the buys I'm looking for on pound, the buys I'm looking for on dollar CAD probably form after. So I don't have to worry too much about getting involved and getting stuck with the news, because whatever happens, I'll be entering after the news if there is a trade for me to enter, that is. But beforehand, I'll probably be looking at those sells, but I want price to break through the lows first and try and get the shorts there. I mean, you could probably look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar as well, but these guys are right at the lows, so it's a little bit more tricky getting the shorts here because they're a bit more extended. At least euro and pounds had a bit of a pullback. New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar, these guys have just been falling since day dot, really. Not much of a pullback on those ones. So I think the pound shorts and euro shorts look a lot better. But anticipation with the news, I'm going to be pretty bullish for the dollar. But yeah, in terms of the longer term move, it just comes back to 107.6 and what we do in the higher time frames. I'm excited because I think there'll be some big moves from 2025, really, because whatever we do, there's going to be a big move regardless. Whether price is going to break through this high and give us the push to 113, or we're going to end up respecting this high and get the push back down to 101, 100. Whichever way, there's a big move to be had. And as a swing trader, it means opportunity. It means risk reward. So it's just about timing and being patient enough to wait for the right opportunity to strike, and not being fearful when it does come, and make sure you take those positions. So that's really what I'm waiting for, the sells or the buys here. I'm not too bothered. I've spoken a lot about the shorts, and the reason is because we're still holding the resistance. So that's why I'm always going to anticipate resistance to hold and support to hold until it doesn't. And if it does break and price does break through, then I'll be bullish, and then I'll start speaking about some breakouts. Of course, wait for my confirmations there as well. But if we do get the breakouts I'm looking for, then hopefully a big swing will form. And we'll look at 113, 114, and probably be a lot beyond that as well. But so far, not quite sold yet. But yeah, it does look like USD will push on. How is the JPY basket doing? Okay, so JPY basket is still looking pretty bearish. It's broken through this floor here, which is a strong sign that we'll see more downside. But we're coming back to some very pivotal areas right now, where if we do hold, then we can get a big sell. This does look like a lot like CAD yen to me, because this is me inverting it, by the way. So yeah, it looks like CAD yen. If you take a mental screenshot of this, correct the behavior, drop to the downside, and if I go over to CAD yen, it's the same thing really. Correct the behavior, big push down. Weird. I wonder, does CAD yen does CAD have the most weighting? Maybe, I'm not too sure. But if I go back to the basket, then we're coming up to some key resistance here. So possibly if we bounce from this, it will be the catalyst for a continuation back to the high. If we start breaking through, then yeah, maybe we are going to get a big drop for the yen pairs. But a big drop in this, but a big push to the upside for the yen pairs. What's up, Tom? Afternoon. Hope you're well. Longs New Zealand CAD. Hey, just 2% shy to pass your phase 1 ET. Nice. I'm taking long. I mean, patience is key. You know, it's not a marathon. No, but I say it's not a marathon. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Not a sprint. It is a marathon. But yeah, congratulations, man. Keep it up. Keep it up. Um, if New Zealand CAD hits you take profit, would you pass the challenge on that trade? Let's go have a look at New Zealand CAD. I'm pretty bearish on New Zealand CAD, to be fair, but hopefully for your sake, we do see a bit of upside. Yeah, what's your targets with this one? What's your targets? What you're looking at for New Zealand CAD? I know you're trading probably on the 30-minute chart, 50-minute chart, or the hourly maybe. Not the biggest fan of New Zealand CAD because it's all over the shop a little bit. But I'm looking at New Zealand CAD in the higher time frames. And looks like if you do successfully break through that trend line, which is not really confirmed yet, I'm still waiting for price to break through the low. If price can break through the low, then lovely stuff. I'm looking for a big move to the downside. Excuse me. If not, if we keep bouncing, then maybe price does hold into support. But I want price to break structure first. But yeah, it is holding on to support on the left. But I have to say, I'm not a big fan of the price action just because it's so messy. I can see on the low time frames you had a bit of a break of structure to the upside, but it's definitely a tricky pair to look at. Okay, 1% shy is a 2% cap. Okay, okay, you're liking the Well, the 2.5% floating cap for floating loss, and you got the 2% cap for the profit. That's good to hear. Target is 0.8271. What specifically are you liking about it? 0.28 0.8271. 8271. Okay, looking for a pretty big move there, back to this area roughly. Um, yeah, I mean, best of luck with that position. I have to say, I'm not a big fan of the pair because of how choppy it is. But of course, um, I hope he does go to hit your targets. But yeah, just I mean, I don't mind the buys because of where we are on the channel. But if we are going to get some buys going, I want it to take the highs first. I mean, I wouldn't mind a double bottom there, to be honest, but it would be a bit aggressive. But if we do take up the highs there, then I think the buys look really, really good. At that point, I'll be very confident to try and swing it back to the high there, or at least a big move anyway, not necessarily that high. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of New Zealand CAD because of how choppy the market structure is. But of course, if as long as you're following your plan, ticks your boxes, that's the most important thing. But yeah, it's been quite choppy, and same thing with Aussie CAD as well. And this one, I'm waiting to see if we can get a big drop to the downside, but it's been difficult, and hasn't been on my watch list for a while because of how corrective it's been. Respect my position, ain't attacking your CJ. So true, mate. So true. um, I'm just speaking from the bottom of the heart. Speaking from the bottom of the heart, Tom. But yeah, I mean, I have full respect to your New Zealand cat. Full respect. I mean, I personally don't like it, but I respect it. You know, I'm always going to speak my mind on the setups, but I know if you've taken a trade, if you followed your rules, you've analyzed the pair, and you've seen something that's lined up well with your plan. If that's the case, you know, I can't knock it. I can't knock it. But yeah, you're not attacking the CJ, so I got to be a bit more respectful. My bad. But yeah, I mean, CJ has been a little bit bullish. It's been slowly clawing back to the upside, so it's coming into some gray areas now for CJ. But again, worst case scenario, the stop loss is still trailed above the zone there. So you know, I still do walk away with profit if that is eventually trailed out. But I am looking at price still coming to the downside, still pretty bearish on CJ as well, and it might still see another retest of this zone here, which is where my stop is trailed above. So maybe we get saved by the level and price does continue down. We'll see as well. But at the moment, I'm not too concerned with CJ because that's already kind of been done with, already banked partials as well. So kind of look at the trade as being over already. If it continues down more, than great. If I do get trailed out, then so be it. But what I'm looking at more so now is CHF JPY, another yen pair as well. And if I do get a strong close, am very tempted about entering some positions on the next 4-hour candle closure, which will be in the next 2 hours. Which would be a bit tricky though, because if I do get into this trade, and let's see if it does start panning out, it could be a situation where I am in this trade over Christmas and over New Year's, which I don't know, might not be the best in terms of swap costs because you're probably not going to see too much movement. But you could be in a situation where it's moved nicely, but then you're going to be adding that swap cost as the days roll over. But hopefully, if my analysis on the higher time frame pans out, we see a nice drop. Hopefully, that makes up for it. But yeah, it does tick the box as well. I like the double top, and I'm looking for a lower high here. So that's where my focus is with yen. Still structure wise, yeah, I mean, it's still bearish for me as well. The only thing I don't like about it is the double bottom and the break to the upside. I mean, I'm still looking at this as another pullback for price to keep falling, but I don't like the double bottom here. respected at once. Yeah, I would like it much better if price actually broke for the low and then had this corrected move. I think that would be a so much better proposition rather than respecting the low and then pushing to the upside. So that's what I don't like about it. But I'm just going to let price do its thing. My attention is like 90% on CHF right now. So yeah, that's kind of where my focus is. So we'll see how that gets going, and hopefully in the next couple of hours I can get a trade in for CHF and I'll be in 2 yen pairs, really banking on yen strength there. So that would be interesting. Could be a phenomenal December/January if it does play out, but then it won't be such a bad if it doesn't, because I mean I'll probably take a loss on CHF but I'll still walk away for a win, which will still outweigh the loss as well. So overall, still be a profitable opportunity really. But if we do see yen become strong, could be a really nice opportunity on the yen pair. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that. Like I said, pound yen is another one which is at a nice area for a short, but just nowhere near ready yet. I think CHF is a much better opportunity anyway, so I'm just going to focus on Swiss yen. And I'll keep an eye on other USD pairs, but they're not quite there. Like I said, I don't think I'll get a trade before the interest rate. So yeah, for me, it's just CHF right now. All right, take care, Tom. Okay, nice. Appreciate it, my man. Yeah, just tag us at Elevating Traders if you do anything on Twitter. But yeah, if your experience is good or bad, but definitely good, share it on the Discord and X as well. I do really appreciate that. But yeah, appreciate it. Hopefully, New Zealand CAD does hit take profit. No disrespect to New Zealand CAD. Don't like the pair personally, but respect. Anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I hope you have found it useful and enjoyed it. I will be live again every day this week as well. So if you are free, tune in, say hi, chat with us. Of course, every day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. If you have found it useful, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. Thank you to everyone who has liked the stream so far. It does really help out. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're finding the streams, the content useful, educational. It does really help out as well. I do really appreciate that. And hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads as well. Check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel if you haven't done so already. Chat with other traders, join the community, chat with myself. I share ideas there, so do other people as well. So if you are interested, check it out. And of course, you can learn a little bit more about the Elevating Traders firm as well. But guys, really do appreciate you tuning in. Have a great Monday, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.